Does intermittent fasting actually help with fat loss, or could it backfire on your desired results? I'm a fitness educator, healthy longevity advocate who tracked every detail: weight, body fat, workouts, nutrition, while trying intermittent fasting for 30 days. In this video, I'm going to walk you through what worked for me, what didn't, and 5 takeaways that help you decide if intermittent fasting is something that fits your goals or if it might cost you more than you think. Let's get into it. Intermittent fasting is everywhere right now, from research labs to wellness podcasts. The idea is simple. Shrink your eating window and extend your fasting window. And so you can let your body do what it does best: burn fat, repair cells, and even reduce inflammation. The benefits sound amazing. Improved insulin sensitivity, support for autophagy, which is another word for cellular spring cleaning, and just a simpler calorie control device and a potential reset for digestion and energy. So naturally, that sounds great. I was curious. Could this be a tool to accelerate fat loss? And would it help me with my gut health? And I wasn't interested in the next trend. And sometimes these things come up and they splash everywhere. And you think, wait a minute, is this just the latest fad, or does it have some basis? So whenever I have that question in my mind, I want real data, meaning real on me. So I tested it myself. My takeaway number 1, it works as a calorie reduction tool, but it doesn't necessarily help you reach your goals. Sounds like kind of like that's at odds, but let me explain. Here's how I approached it. I chose the popular 16-8 split. That means 16 hours of fasting, 8 hours to feed. Hint, make the 16 hours partly overnight, so you're sleeping during part of it. There are other splits out there too, like 18-6 or 14-10. It's just a framework, and you want to pick one for consistency. So I just picked the one that was kind of the average in the middle. I weighed in on the scale, which is the way you should always start an experiment. Weigh on the scale, and I had somebody fat test me with calipers so that I would have an objective person and use the same person for the before and after, so it's as close as a good measurement as possible. And I didn't change what I was eating, so the same amount of calories, macros, everything. I kept up my strength training routine the same. My VO2 max cardio was consistent throughout. I didn't cut corners. This was a focused test, and I wanted to take it seriously. So my goal wasn't to shed pounds indiscriminately, but to understand what intermittent fasting really did for my body composition. So after 30 days, I stepped back, stepped onto the scale, had my same person do the caliper fat test on me in the same spots on my body, just made it as scientific as possible when not in a lab. And the scale said I lost 6 pounds. What? I mean, that was right away. So that's what some people are looking for, is just plain old weight loss. So that part was working. The problem was, when we did the fat test, I had gained 2% fat. So I lost weight, but my fat went up. Head scratcher. So honestly, what does this weight loss lead to? It points to the fact that I didn't actually gain fat because I was in a calorie deficit slightly, but what I did was I lost muscle. So the ratio changed and the fat came up a little bit. In 30 days, I lost muscle. So, problem there. Let's move on. Takeaway number 2. Protein intake is harder to maintain in a compressed window. It can be done, but saying it's not impossible, let me just add, it's just a lot of chewing in a very limited time. Even with shakes and bars and things, it's a lot. And I struggled to get the adequate protein and calories in during that 8-hour window. Some days I felt rushed, and some days I just felt too full, and yet the clock was ticking, and that 8-hour window was closing, and I still had to shove more food in because that was the only time I could eat. That said, I got it to work, and I was faithful to the experiment, but the results, that's what became the deal breaker. My takeaway number 3, fasting has the potential for short-term benefits for the right person because it's really good for your digestion and your gut health. It gives you a reset, a cleanse, so to speak. And it also creates structure. So if you're the kind of person who eats, but then you're still obsessed with the next meal, or you're getting hungry in between, or you're just kind of anxious around getting enough food and eating and more eating, it shuts that down. And it makes you learn that you'll get enough food when the time comes. And it allows you to say, in a little while, I'm going to be able to eat all I want in my diet, and it'll be fine. And so it made me more comfortable with being a little hungry, because I personally tend to get a little anxious around that feeling of that gnawing that just starts to creep in around the edges. It gave me a mental kind of control over that. And yet it wasn't disordered because I wasn't depriving myself of food. I was just corralling it to a certain time. So it can be very helpful for the right person, especially if it simplifies your day, normally, naturally curbs overeating. And you can spend longer time on focused projects and other demands. So if that fits the lifestyle that you're looking for, I think you should try it. Experiment on it if you want, and just make sure that you're getting all your nutrients, you're getting all your calories, and then you won't be hurting yourself. So it can be an awesome shift for you. It could be a nothing burger, to coin a phrase, or it could just not be workable for you over extended periods of time. So you're getting a spectrum here. Yes, please. Yes or no, maybe, and no. And they're all right, as long as you follow the basic requirements that you are not being disordered and you're eating enough food to be able to feed your body. This is not about judgment of right or wrong. It's about finding what works for you. And I wouldn't shy away from it again, personally, doing it for a week-long gut reset. I'm thinking like after the Christmas holidays when, overindulgence and just not being on a regular sleep schedule and eating rich foods and all of those things. I feel kind of cranky, frankly. By January 2, I'm ready to kind of clean it up. Well, this is a good way to do it because it's like ripping off the Band-Aid. And so I may look at that again, but I am not going to probably consider it for a long-term plan. My takeaway number 4 is that it may not be sustainable for everyone, especially if you train hard and your main goal isn't weight loss, it is muscle gains. And as a competitive bodybuilder, you know me by now. That's something I pay attention to even in the off season. So I found the main drawbacks that I had to come to terms with were, number 1, feeling drained, especially drained after one of my really heavy lift days. Usually once a week, sometimes twice a week, my resistance training workout is really pushing the limits. I don't do it every time. But because it had been so long since I'd consumed calories, and it was still, calories were still, I had to wait another 3 to 4 hours after this heavy lifting, I got pretty drained. And then I wasn't able to work on focused projects or, some of the mental benefits, of being able to focus because you're not tired or maybe gotten an insulin spike or are eating too often or whatever it is that you might be doing. If you're snacking and then you lose your edge, that drain was palpable. And then the afternoon brain fog would hit me. I didn't have it in the morning. When I woke up, I was sharp as could be. And I liked that. I think it was because my gut was so clean and rested. But the afternoon, an hour or two before it was time to eat, I was just shut down. And most of all, I struggled consistently to hit my protein and my micronutrient goals in such a short window. So for someone like me who prioritizes lean muscle growth, and then also thinking about long-term, like, can it be sustained over a long period of time without being like a start and stop kind of thing because of burnout? It didn't hold up for me. And for women especially, as I did a deeper dive, I found out that there's emerging research suggesting for women that prolonged intermittent fasting may disrupt hormones or muscle retention. And while I didn't experience a hormonal disruption, I mean, maybe my hormones are pretty stable now that I'm approaching 70. I did experience a muscle retention problem, and I didn't like that. And my takeaway number 5, experimentation is valid and valuable. I don't regret trying it at all. I gave it a fair shot. And that's what I encourage others to do. If you're ever wondering, is this right for me? Or is this too much or too little? Or is it bogus? Or it doesn't apply to me? Those are really valid questions and you should find out. So you've got to do a little planning ahead. Test it. Measure it. Don't rely on hype or guesses. 30 days gives you enough time. It's kind of like a real concrete time period where it's long enough to get honest feedback rather than just bouncing off of a trend. And we know, especially those of us who kind of like reflexively weigh ourselves. I used to be like that, where I would weigh myself every morning. It just it goes like this from day to day. But if you go over 4 weeks, those dips are either going this way or they're going this way. So you can see the whole span regardless of the little ups and downs of the day to day. So that's why 30 days I think is a good measure. And it's not so long that if it's terrible, it's not going to kill you. So don't be afraid to treat your body like a science experiment. Control for the variables and have a goal in mind and prepare before you start so that everything is very lockstep and you can tell that the results are valid. Treat your body like a science experiment, but not like a battleground, okay? Curiosity without judgment. That's where wisdom comes from for your own body and where the decisions can be made. So, if you've ever wondered whether intermittent fasting is the key to better health or a shortcut to losing muscle or something in between, now you've gotten some insight and some points to consider. I believe your body is your best teacher, and experimenting with intention is one of the smartest things you can do for your health. So if you're into evidence-based strategies for staying strong, sharp, and energized as you age, this is the community for you. Welcome. I share real results, practical tools, and a no-hype approach to lasting, healthy longevity.